It's always exciting to take a look at a classic blade that's had a major facelift. Well, that's right, folks. That's what we're looking at today. In my opinion, a classic knife, just because it's been a staple in the Cold Steel's collection for quite a while, and it offers a lot. And we're looking today at the Cold Steel Outdoorsman Lite that they've given a complete facelift to, from everything from the steel to the handle to the sheath to the grinding. There's a lot that we're going to be looking at today that they've changed and modified since this original version came out years ago, that I tested early on in this channel's history that we have been testing and using knives. So I'm looking forward today to breaking the whole blade down for you, what has been changed and how those changes have either held back or improved the capability of this budget-friendly fixed blade. So let's go ahead, jump over to the log, show you all the action that I've had out in the backcountry with it, and see if this new update is worth investing in for your blade collection and regular use. Now, the sheath is a difference over the old nylon version that they used to offer. The nylon version was decent for the price point. This is better for the price point. You're getting a polymer, Cold Steel imprinted there, but pretty low profile, nothing super crazy. You got a large drainage hole. And then on the back side here, we have a very Mora-esque belt clip with even a little attachment there. You got your double locking feature, clips on real nicely. Pretty silent, so that's a good thing as well. The only drawback is that the retention is great in the sense it's not going to fall out or anything like that, but there's no thumb ramp to push off or anything like that. And so you really have to pull and you got to kind of push your thumb, and there, I just wish that there was a little thumb ramp right here. If there's a little thumb ramp, the deployment would have been better. And that's just something, a critique that I see on not only this Cold Steel, but also on the Finhawk, that they didn't offer anything like that, and the retention is very strong, so you almost have to use two hands, one holding the sheath, the other pulling the knife out to really deploy the blade well. So it's not a fast deploying knife. So that's just something to consider when you're looking at the sheath options, but I think it's a much better upgrade over the old nylon version that they used to use. All right, so we got a lot to talk about with the blade. They've changed up a bunch of stuff here on this knife. Now, we're looking at 6 inches from guard to tip, about, I would say 5.5 to maybe 5.7 actual cutting edge. Now, on the old version, they used to have 41/16 steel, which is decent for the price. It wasn't mind-blowing by any means. Now, what they are currently using is a steel I've never used before or seen before, 4034 SS, made in Taiwan. So I've done a little bit of research. It's definitely on the budget end of steel. It's by no means a super steel or anything like that, but I just got off the phone with Cold Steel, asked them, hey, what are you guys Rockwelling this to? And it has a Rockwell of 58 to 59 is what they're taking it to. So, and Cold Steel has always done a really good job of taking quality control and heat treatments and things seriously with their type of steels that they use. So you can often, of whatever performance you can expect out of a steel, they usually are at the top of the mark with that because of their heat treats and cryo treating and different things that they do often. So what I've discovered is that this definitely performs as good, if not better, than the old 14/16 steel that they, or sorry, 41/16 steel that they were using. And I would put it right around the same ballpark of edge retention, rust resistance, things like that, of like Sandvik 27, C27, however that, you know, what I'm talking about. So it's definitely decent. It's by no means mind-blowing. You'll have to resharpen it on a pretty regular basis, but it's holding up very well to the toughness and durability, batoning, hacking, side splitting that I was doing with it. It didn't chip, it didn't roll. It held its edge well for the type of steel that it is. And then it was easy for me to put an edge on the blade as well. So it wasn't something that I had to really work hard on to try and get that edge that I wanted on the blade. SS stainless steel, so this is a stainless steel, so it's very rust resistant. That's always been a big selling point of this knife, is that the old steel was very rust resistant. This is also very rust resistant, so it'd be a great knife to have in a canoe, on a boat, around a lot of water sports or water adventures, hunting, fishing, you know, that type of stuff. High humid environments, it's gonna protect against rust very well. The other things that they've changed, not only in the steel, but they have also thickened up the spine ever so slightly, bringing it to 4 millimeters or for a 0.157, so almost 0.16 on the thickness back here near the guard, and it stays consistent almost all the way down to the tip. So you got a little more strength, and adding to that also a saber grind. So they have changed it up, and now it has a saber or flat grind to it, so that adds extra strength. So this is actually for how lightweight it is, which my scale says right around like 6 ounces. Theirs was like, on this websites, it says more like around 5. So anywhere between 5 and 6 ounces, I would say, for just the knife itself. It's a very lightweight knife for being a 6-inch bladed knife. So that's really impressive to have that all working together. Now, the one drawback to the saber grind is that you're not going to get quite the slicing capability from what I remember of my older version that either had a Scandi or like a hollow grind on it. Now, you lose durability with that and strength with hollow grinds and Scandi grinds over saber, but you're going to lose the slicing capability that those type of grinds, hollow and Scandi, offer to you. So out of the box, I wasn't super impressed with the edge geometry. The first time I took it out with some of the shots that you're seeing, it wasn't really carving the shavings like I liked. It wasn't biting the wood quite. It was more rolling off of my cuts, which means that the edge geometry wasn't fantastic. It could just be my model that I got, because cold steel is really good usually about having great edge geometry. So I took it to my sharpener. It took me 15 minutes and I had the edge that I wanted on it. I took it back out, performed much better. So it's easy to work with. If you don't have quite the edge on it that you like, you can easily tune that up. Hopefully mine was just kind of like a fluke, you know, and they just didn't take as much time on it. And the grind wasn't just quite as high as I like on the secondary beveled edge there. So that's something to consider, something to be aware of. But we got as well a good solid tip. The grinding was slightly off. I fixed that. One side was definitely more tapered than the other. But again, for a budget-friendly blade, not the end of the world, and because of the type of steel, I was easily able to fix that. And then you basically do have a sharpened edge here on this bone breaker / secondary beveled edge right there, and that is for either breaking bone and, you know, getting to the marrow or whatever you would want to do, or if you're, you know, cleaning game and you wanted to do that for some reason, that is what it's designed for. It's not so sharp that if I run my finger on it, I'll cut myself, but it's almost there. And you can almost carve with it. I flipped it upside down, was able to get some shavings off of it and things. It can throw a spark. It can do those type of things. So there is that secondary edge on the back there, more for hunting tasks. I don't really see a lot of use for it for me as an actual, like, in normal outdoors tasks, but it's there, you know, to help you throw a spark and do different things like that. It just gives you, you know, an extra capability there, basically. So overall, with the tweaking that they've done, I think that if anything, it's only made the knife slightly stronger, and has, again, decent for the type of blade edge retention. Obviously, AUS 8 and those type of steels will hold its edge a little bit better from my experience, but for the price that we're going to look at here shortly, you're getting a rust-resistant blade that will hold a decent edge and is really easy to work with out in the field. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and take a look here at the handle. They have done a little bit of tweaking over the older version. Now, what's awesome is that it's a full tang knife with the with the tang coming out the back there. That's always nice to see with an overmolded knife like this in this price range. So that's awesome, nice strength and durability. Now the old version just had like a polypropylene kind of a rubberized handle. They've upgraded that now with the, what do they call it? A polypropylene guard and pommel and core section, which envelops the knife's tang. And then they have a Cray X, which is kind of like what their version of a Craton, I guess, centerpiece right here, which has kind of almost like fish scale looking material and then, or texturing, and then ribbing along each top and bottom side there. So that's really sweet to see. All that means is that you're getting extra durability out of it with great grip. So it's 5 inches long, so you have lots of real estate to work with. As you can see there, I wear large size gloves. I got a ton of real estate out that back end. It feels amazing in any grip that you hold it because of its rounded contouring design there. And then you got that really nice guard to lock you in on the front end, you know, so you're not actually going to slide up. You got a little bit of blocky jimping right there, which is great texturing. And then it kind of narrows down and tapers down, but it never feels small in your hand. No lanyard hole. It's a really lightweight knife, you know, so you're not going to be doing a lot of hacking or anything like that. It'll just delimb some very small, like pinky sized branches if you needed to. It's not a chopper or anything like that, but good now extra durability over the handle, and it just feels more ergonomic than a lot of other blades out there because of the styling that they gave you, but still great texturing, warm to the touch, particularly in like cold environments. You know, because the tang is enclosed, you're not going to feel that cold metal up on your hand or that cold trying to eat through the gloves. So the ergonomics is great, regardless if it's hot, sweaty environments or cold weather environments with gloves on. The ergos on this are nice, and now they've upgraded it for just extra durability over the long term. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and hit competitive options, price point, all that jazz. Now, right now, as they're transitioning out the old stock and bringing in this new stock, this model right now is running for about $28. The old version with the nylon sheath was more around $25, so I don't know if this is just gonna be the new price or if they're gonna bring it down slightly. We will have links for you guys below over to Amazon, Blade HQ, GP Knives. We appreciate when you purchase through those. It means a lot to us. Now, the stock is still transitioning, so check the model number. I'll put the model number in the description that's popping up right now. So just make sure, and you may even want to call. I know Amazon does have this 4034 SS version, and I believe GP Knives does. When I was making this video on Blade HQ, they still seem to have the older version. You may even want to call them. They may have not have updated their specs yet. So just things to consider. They are transitioning this model over right now, so there still might be some of the old stock still left out there. So just check on what you're purchasing. Now, when I did see that Cold Steel was releasing this new version, because I had tested out the old one, I hit them up to see if they would send this over to us to test and review, and they were willing to do so. So they sent this over to us so I could give you guys my feedback, how it compares to that older versions, competitive options, and so you can know what to expect out of some of these new features and whether or not that's going to make sense in your collection and in your regular rotation of blades. So with that, let's go ahead and we'll look at some other competitive options here. One of the first ones that comes to my mind is something old and new, an Ontario made old hickory butcher knife, about the same size. This has been around for almost a century, I believe, if not more. $10.95, USA made steel, wood handle, full tang, very thin. Definitely like a butcher-esque knife, and people for years have been making aftermarket sheaths for them. Well, now Ontario does offer a version for 20 bucks with a simple leather sheath that says Ontario on there. It's a decent little setup. Now, what I discovered was, though, as I was using this old hickory, the handle did loosen up on me. It's pinned in, so I can't adjust it any, but there is some rattling and just some slight adjustment. I might put some hockey tape on that eventually or something. So that was a little bit of a drawback. I would argue more durability you're going to get out of the Outdoorsman Lite, but that is a competitive option in size and in price range. And then after that, I just wanted to run in here the SOG field knife. That's with 7CR17 MOV steel, smaller knife obviously, but it's definitely in that kind of same vein a little bit, having that overmolded handle, exposed tang, polymer sheath. It's right around the same price point, 25 to 30 bucks. But I will say that with the Rockwell and the 7CR being 54 to I believe 58, what I found was this 4034 SS held a better edge and is just a little more durable, is what I discovered compared to the 7CR. So that's something just to be aware of. And then I did want to finally run in here the Mora Cans bolt. That one's going to be the most expensive at about $34 to $35. Made in Sweden. That's got the Sandvik 12C27, I believe, and that's not full tang. It's a partial tang, but you're getting kind of a similar polymer sheath, 90-degree spine. It's a great bushcraft knife, but it is smaller, obviously, as well. And I would say that the edge retention is very similar on this steel to this 4034 SS from what I've seen and experienced. So, but the Outdoorsman seems to be a little bit tougher. I know some people complain. I don't really see it, brittleness on this Sandvik. This is not, from everything that I've seen and what I was doing in my testing, didn't see any brittleness or chipping on the Outdoorsman Lite. So just things, guys, to consider, other blade options in this price point. But I think that what sets the Outdoorsman Lite apart from the rest is that you're getting a good stainless steel for the price, and you're getting a larger blade than most other knives on the market in this price range and in this kind of budget-friendly stainless steel options. A lot of them are more around the 4 to 4.5 inch, or you're looking at carbon steel possibly. This gives you a stainless steel that seems to be pretty good for the price, and you're getting a good large handle and a good large blade with a polymer sheath on top of all that. So that's what I believe really sets it apart from the other blades out there and what we're looking at even here with these competitive options. Well, guys, time to bring it to a close, give you my final thoughts on the blade and what this knife has to offer and all these updates. Now, overall, I'm really happy with all of the updates, except for, in my experience from what I saw out of the box, edge geometry that I was easily able to fix on my own. That was a little bit of a drawback. I always like to have a good sharp knife out of the box. It's not a deal killer by any means. It's just something that I was kind of like, eh. And that might be because of the saber or flat grind that they're now doing, but again, very easily to work with. But the sheath is an upgrade for sure. I prefer saber over hollow when I have the opportunity. I like the steel from the price comparison that we're looking at, and then just the extra durability with the hardened core polymer that they're using for the handle. They're all positives. There's really no negative downside to it. So if you already own one of the old versions, I would say for the extra, let's just say 30 bucks, it's a good investment, particularly if you like the idea of the polymer and you want a different grind angle and a little bit stouter blade. So those are things just to consider, things to think about when you are looking at this. But if you don't own one and you're seeing what this has to offer, I think it definitely has a niche, a place for a lot of budget-friendly outdoor tasks when you don't just want another Mora, right? Or you don't want just another Scandi ground 4-inch blade. You're wanting something maybe just a little bit bigger, a little stouter, a little stronger, but still not wanting to break the bank and wanting to go, you know, into like $100 and having to get like some big old honking survival knife. I think it meets a good balance between those two with this design, and it still holds that name true, and of the Outdoorsman being a good knife for that. Being in the outdoors, using it out there regularly, and it's not going to break the bank. So it's a good knife to throw as a truck knife, as you know, something to throw in the canoe or the boat or something like that, and you're going to get a lot of value out of the performance for what it's going to do for you. So hope this video has been helpful for you guys. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media, everything that we're doing over there. You can follow along week in, week out, and check that other video popping up. Hit the subscription if you're not already a subscriber. You can be part of the GT family. And always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.